you all just finished a U-try where I asked you to find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and intercepts of a quadratic function in standard form. So let's see how that one went. The equation I gave you was f of x equals negative 2x squared minus 8x plus 10. So let's just go through one by one. So to find our vertex, what I would do is use that formula, that x equals negative b over 2a. So the opposite of b, the opposite of negative 8 would be positive 8. 2 times a would be 2 times negative 2, which would be negative 4. And then I can simplify that. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. So the x value for my vertex is negative 2. The y value, all you do is just substitute it in. So let's just see what that works out to be. So for the y value, I would do negative 2 squared, which would be 4. And then I would take that 4, multiply it by negative 2, get negative 8. I'd have negative 8 times negative 2, which is going to give me a positive 16. And then I also have a plus 10 here. Okay? All right, from here, negative 8 plus 16 is positive 8. Positive 8 plus 10 is positive 18. So there's your vertex. The x value is negative 2. The y value is positive 18. All right? After you get the vertex, the axis of symmetry isn't too terrible. It's a vertical line going through the vertex of your parabola. So vertical lines always have that format of x equals a number. So we're going to have x equals, and then the x coordinate for our vertex, so it can actually go through that line, is x equals negative 2. Alrighty, let's go to intercepts. So let's start with the x-intercept. The x-intercept happens when y is 0. So basically I'm going to have 0 for my y value for my f of x equals negative 2x squared minus 8x plus 10. Then I need to solve for x. So first off, when I'm solving this one, I notice that 2, 8, and 10 are all divisible by 2. And so just to make my life simpler, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2, because it just makes my life a little easier. 0 divided by negative 2 is 0. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, so now I've got a 1x squared. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is a positive 4. And 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. And that looks a lot nicer for solving. That actually factors nicely as well. So x times x gives me x squared. Let's see, positive 5 times negative 1 will give me the negative 5. And negative 1x plus 5x is positive 4x. If you guessed the signs wrong, you would just get the negative 4 instead of positive 4, and then you know to switch them. Okay? From here, x plus 5 equals 0. We'll set both of our factors equal to 0 and solve. And x minus 1 equals 0. From the first one, I'll subtract 5 from both sides, get x equals negative 5. From the second one, I'll add 1 to both sides and get x equals 1. So what that means for me is the negative 5 for the x value means that I have an x-intercept at negative 5, 0. The x equals 1 means I have an x-intercept at 1, 0. So there's my two x-intercepts. For the y-intercept, it's not too terrible. For the y-intercept, that happens when x is 0. So basically, for that y-intercept, I'm going to take my function, and I'm going to substitute 0 in for x and see what the y value is. Okay? So I'd have 0 squared, which is 0, times negative 2, which would still be 0. I'd have a minus 8 times 0, so a minus 0, and a plus 10. 0 minus 0, of course, is 0, and 0 plus 10 is 10. So my y-intercept happens when x is 0 and y is 10. So there are all of your intercepts. There's your axis of symmetry, and there's your vertex. Here's everything that you can find from that equation.